Now on the tax reform news today, with Senator John McCain on board, passage of the tax reform bill in the Senate seems much more likely. And that means Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has a decision to make. Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel tells us what that is from the Capitol tonight.
Do you think there's any chance you don't pass this bill?
I think it's likely to pass.
It's vote counting time in the Senate as Republican leaders work to round up at least 50 in favor of tax reform.
I've got to get into this. We're in the stretch. You know, horse racing is kind of a big deal in Kentucky. We're going down the home stretch, headed toward the finish line either late tonight or early tomorrow.
A big development came when Arizona Senator John McCain announced he's a yes, quote, after careful thought and consideration, I have decided to support the Senate tax reform bill.
The Senate will come to order.
For Democrats, there's been some frustration because if Republicans stay unified, there isn't much that can be done to stop this legislation.
From the beginning, the Republican tax bill has made a mockery of the legislative process.
One of the most unfair and disastrous pieces of legislation ever brought forth in the modern history of this country.
Republican sources suggest Schumer may allow some of his moderate members running for re-election next year in states President Trump won, such as Donnelly, Heitkamp, Manchin, and Tester, to vote for the bill if it's clear it will pass. One GOP senator said if the Republicans get 51 of their members, they should end up with 54 votes for the tax deal.
I think this is a bill that a number of Democrats in the Senate should vote for. I think this is a bill that several Democrats in the House may vote for.
Late today, the Joint Committee on Taxation estimated economic growth would decrease the price tag of the tax package by $407 billion to $1 trillion over 10 years. Before the Senate votes on final passage, lawmakers are expected to weigh in on a variety of amendments, which members argue would improve the bill.
Preserving the property tax deduction up to $10,000 is crucial for middle-income taxpayers across the United States.
Senate Republican Whip John Cornyn told reporters just moments ago the triggers that some members wanted to protect against a deficit surge will not be in the final bill. Cornyn saying it does not work, and so I'm told that lawmakers are looking at alternatives to try to reassure those who are worried about the impact on the debt if those economic expectations are not met. It is still a fluid situation, but Republican sources insist they are still very confident. Brett?
You know, Mike, just a few minutes ago, the GOP almost ran into a roadblock when Angus King, the senator from Maine, tried to send it back to the committee, but they defeated that motion, right?
Yeah, that's right. 3 senators withheld their votes, 3 Republicans. They are clearly negotiating on the floor with leadership, wanting some assurances for the individual things that they are fighting for. In the end, they went with the Republicans and defeated that amendment, but it certainly was a close call. It looked like the bill could potentially be going back to the Finance Committee, but the crisis was averted.
Yeah, the head counters were holding their breath. Mike Emanuel live on Capitol Hill. Mike, thanks.
Sure.